Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And Jessica is now 20, how many days in?
What is today?
The 22nd.
23.
She is 23 days into her fast. She's had a couple of small meals when we've had family gatherings, but other than that, not nothing. Coffee, tea. And so, how does that relate to root cause? So, Jess, give your definition of root cause.
So it would be like the original, whatever a problem, it's the original problem.
The original, like, trigger issue
Yeah.
problem.
Symptom. Well, I don't know how that's a hard one to explain.
A root cause.
Symptoms would be like inflammation. So what was the main reason why you had it?
What caused the inflammation? And medically, what we like to do now is we like to take care of symptoms. And so we're really good at quelling pain. We can actually take the endpoint of inflammation and use steroids and things like that to decrease the physical manifestation, or what we call the phenotype of the inflammation. But what really triggered it? What set it off? And there are lots of things that can cause dysfunction. And we've been listening to actually Dr. Lustig talk a lot about sugar and talk a lot about nutrition. And it boils down to your genes. And there are genetics and there are epigenetics. And so it's when you look at a piece of DNA, and that DNA, or that SNP, the single nucleotide polymorphism, that SNP is held bound tightly by the DNA, and the body uses folate, folic acid, or not folic acid. Folic acid is a poor form of folate. A lot of people can't actually activate folate or folic acid, but what the genetics do, or what the epigenetics do, is if you don't have the right nutrition, the right rest, sleep, exercise, good company, all of that stuff. Hey, Tina. Then what happens is the genetics then start to open up. You can trigger the epigenetic response, and stress is a big trigger for that stuff. Evening,
Hey, Miss
Kathy.
Kathy. Tell Bill we have Grace Libby right here.
Libby down there. She was butting in a minute ago, but I guess she got tired. But that's where just recently we've had several people. One of the people contacted us about hormonal issues, and the thing that's very hard to get through to people is that the problem isn't with the hormone. The problem is, where in the stream of producing this hormone did things go wrong? And then it's trying to figure out how to set up our lives so that this doesn't happen again. And it takes a long time to reverse some of that damage. Either it takes a long time or it takes very drastic steps. I mean, it's like Jessica with trying to get her hand to feel better.
No swelling.
And so she can now do that, but she knew she had inflammation. Her CRP was high, and we've done everything that we can to modulate the pain and then try to get rid of the pain. And finally, she's just to the point that she's like, there's something in the food, there's something that I can't get over. And so she's just not eating. And then she's getting ready to go do her food allergy testing, and she's getting ready to do her um, CRP again. And that way, we can really dig down as to what she has controlled now is the input of food. And if her CRP goes down, and her food allergy testing goes off, we know that she really does have allergies to these foods. And so for her, things that trip or trigger are whatever foods possibly. For me, a lot of times things that trip my trigger are stress. If I get stressed out, I want to eat bad. And then when I want to eat bad, I start inflammatory processes and things like that. But once again, that's getting down into that. My cholesterol goes wonky. My cholesterol doesn't go wonky because my diet's bad. My cholesterol goes wonky because my adrenals are stressed. And when your adrenals are stressed, your gut breaks down. When your gut breaks down, your thyroid gets stressed. And that starts that chain. So now it's going through the process of bringing all of that back and healing all of that up. She's going to have a different path. And so, root cause medicine for her, personalized medicine for her, is different than personalized medicine for me. Our supplements are different, um, but our exercise and our sleep and all of that stuff is the same. So it's one of those things when you're looking at these things and you're trying to control for them. It's funny. Generally, the thing that's hardest for you to do is the thing that you really need to do, and that's turned out time and time again. So I really don't want to go and fast, but I'm going to end up fasting. The church is doing a 12-day challenge at the beginning of the year, and then I'm going to go right into working on my metabolism. And it's getting down to that stuff. For some people, it might be heavy metal toxins. For some people, it might be mold. For some people, it might be sugar. For some people, it might be an annoying dog licking their hand. Hey, chill it. So that's the thing that it really takes. We don't lack ibuprofen. We don't get headaches because we lack ibuprofen. And the thing is if the body is incredibly, um, well, it's incredibly intelligent, but the body wants to live. And if it doesn't have everything that it needs to run everything that it has to, it'll start to prioritize. And then you might lose calcium and magnesium and stuff like that from your bones. And you do that because your body still needs that stuff. But if your hydrochloric acid is off or you're taking PPIs, you can't break that stuff down. And that's why in the IFM we talk about root cause medicine. And it's trying to identify that root, because if you identify the root, then you can identify the triggers, and then you can start to set up the lifestyle so that that stuff doesn't happen. In the meantime, you start to build back up the stores. It's kind of like being in debt. You can't just go from being in debt to being out of the rat race in a day. You've got to build that stuff back up. You've got to fix the metabolism. You've got to fix, Lord knows, whatever is dysfunctional. And that just takes time. But that's what we're here for. We're here to help people and guide them through this. I've been talking a lot. What you got to add? Well, in taking care of the inflammation, you've lost weight, you've lost water, you've lost, and those are all signs of inflammation. So we know that there's something in the food because that's gone.
Yeah,
that's causing it.
But we're gonna check the inflammation levels with a blood test before I get allergy testing, so we'll actually kind of know if I took care of the problem. Because if my inflammation markers fell, then we absolutely know that it has to be related to food.
Yep. And root cause is not treating the symptoms. It's not an ibuprofen. It's not prednisone. It's not. You may need some of that short course to help control some of the stresses that your body feels so that you can relax and get good quality sleep or whatnot. But until such time, it to think that you have to live on ibuprofen. Think about it this way: if the infrastructure, which is not likely to happen, But if the infrastructure of society implodes tomorrow and we can't produce any more ibuprofen, or we can't produce any more analgesics and stuff like that, how are you going to live? Because you can't get that stuff, because it's not something that we have, that we make endogenously. You're going to have to figure out how to survive without it. And that's getting down to the root cause. Funny thing is if society imploded tomorrow and they didn't make processed foods and high sugar foods and high fructose corn syrup and all that stuff, guess what? We probably all do a whole lot better. So that's what root cause means. Root cause means getting into what is dysfunctioning in your body, not the symptoms, not the end game, not what you suffer from. Because remember, arthritis just means inflammation of the joint. That's the end product. What was causing the problem as a buildup? And that's what we got to figure out. And that takes time. Of course, that's why we do testing. And then that's why we give supplements according to testing. So I think that's pretty quick and concise. Anything to add, babe?
Yeah, we talk about my fasting all the time, but I fasted a lot in the last 3 to 4 years. So I think one of my 43 days is what we were going to fast for church. So it just ended up being, when I was coming off the fast, they were supposed to be fasting. So my fast went from 31 days to 43. I would not suggest you to go out and just do that, but you can work up to fasting by limiting your feed time during the day. And then once you've mastered, 8 hours, go to 12 hours. And then you can go all day, or you can just go one meal a day, but you're still going to get benefit. But I'm doing great. Everybody always asks me, are you hungry? How do you feel? And I actually feel fabulous. I'm not hungry. Every once in a while, I want something warm, but I can use, I did add vegetable broth. I've had a few cups of vegetable broth, but it's got 10 calories for half the box. So it's like 5 calories. But I would highly recommend trying it. For me, I already had a clean diet, and I'd already tried all the other things. And so that was just an extreme measure that I just decided that I was going to see. And actually, I feel great. So I don't miss the food.
Bringing food back in just going to be a slow process. Hopefully her guts had time to heal. We're actually both getting ready to go into the repair phase of the program, and that'll help seal up the leaky gut. So hopefully her predisposition to autoimmune diseases and stuff like that, we can shut that down.
Yeah, and I found my chin again.
Have a great night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.